Okay, I'm live in a couple seconds. My name is Beta Rock, and together we can change the world. I have a special guest here at the moment. He is anonymous. He said to call him the guy with the green shirt, I think. He's whispering. This guy is, someone special. When I did my thing before about, reflections on jail, well, this brings jail to real life because this is a real guy. Okay. Who listens to what I say? Who might listen to what I say? What comes out of my mouth? But this one, is quite. This is just. I don't know. I said I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, and here we go. But jail is real. Life is real. It's one thing to read about something in a book, and it's another thing to live it. And then, like some level you can put that into some kind of box in life. I don't know if my friend here thinks this, and it's just like I can just like, I'm quite aware that this happened, but it's just a pleasure now to intersect. I look to my past and the events and things that people I don't, fleets of people that I cared about and different things. And so in a way that's, in this past place. I don't want to move on from that place. I want this to all get mixed into some kind of happy ending. And I spent a great deal of time trying to uh, make it, control things to get to the place that I wanted it to be. And in the scope of all of this, that's not, I still pray into that and want these things. But what I'm experiencing is just go with the flow. We got this verse here that I say almost really every time that I do this. So let me read it here. John 3:8. This is a biblical text. The wind blows wherever it pleases. You hear its sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it is going. Okay, well, like I've been texting my friend here for the last 2 years or a year and a half, and I'd say something and he'd say something back, and that's kind of how it went. And then yesterday, I said, I'd like to have a roommate, and he's not on probation. I'm on probation. We can't even work this out until probation would say he could. I can't. We got to get this approved, and who knows whether it was. But whatever happened, this is, just listen again. The wind blows wherever it pleases. This is like the wind. I did not plan this into my day. Okay. But it's different, right? If I have an agenda to take the past of my life and get it all cleaned up, that's an agenda. And I do have an agenda of this. But I am just simply trusting God, okay, to meet the desires of my heart. And maybe God has in mind to clean up the past. Or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I'm trusting God with that. My friend here, I don't know what he would call himself. Agnostic? Atheist? Atheist. He's owning atheist. Okay. He is owning atheist. That's good. Okay. When we met let me finish, I guess, the thought. So I just find it personally fun with the idea that, God's with me. He's with me in this. He cares. I'm making some friendships now. This guy being one, he's on my list. Okay. The 25 people or 26 that I'm just kind of cultivating and thinking about, it takes some time. Here's a good example. But at another level, the wind blows and you hear its sound. Is God involved in our relationship? He's an atheist. What's he going to think? He can hear me say this. I asked him, I said, I don't know, but I know it's fun. He's smoking a Pall Mall. If you know me from, that's not what I did. That's not what I do. I said, it smells quite nice in here. It does. Okay. So where does have me ending up? Well, I'll tell you, it has me at a couple Bible passages because he asked me about 5 o'clock. Like we were eating, we went for a little walk. Where do I go? So it is with we're back to the Bible verse. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. That wind, isn't that fun? Don't you want to have a life where it's just, let's let the wind blow and see what comes? Okay. At the very end of this, one of these passages that I'm going to read here, I read it quick, and I'm relatively familiar with it. But it says here in verse 32, when they heard, this is Paul at the, where? The where's the word? Where's the word? Areopagus. Okay, that's one of the passages. There's two. But here at the end, after giving his great exhortation to the people that he would want to have changed his ways and views of life, it says in verse 32, when they heard about the resurrection of the dead, some of them sneered, but others said, we want to hear you again on this subject. At that, Paul left the council. Some of the people became followers of Paul and believed. Some. Okay. He stepped out now, my friend. We talked about this. He said he might do that. We're all fine, but we're living in an event. Today's an event. This is an event, an important one to me. I think this is very interesting. Just like with anybody, okay? Some, that's the key word. Some of the people became followers of Paul and believed. Among them was Dionysus, a member of the Areopagus, also a woman named Damaris, and a number of others. Okay, so it had some fruit. This then is my prayer. Lord, may I be your wind here now. In Jesus' name, amen. So he gets to hear the live version of what whoever listens to this and however it all goes. To come after people with the greatest fire, because I don't have really people like my friend in mind when I do this. I have more people like from my past in mind who sit inside a church for 75 years and just don't listen. Oh, they listen and they know the things, but it doesn't touch their heart. It doesn't change their lives. Not down when they get pressed into a corner. They're no different than anybody else, and even worse. That's mainly the crowd that I have in mind, and myself. Okay, I'm in that crowd. That's what I grew up in. Here we have my friend here listening to whatever might come out of my mouth. But we're staying true to what I do. Central passage of concern, Hebrews 10, 26 to 31, where the issue is knowingly sinning and continually doing it. You know you're doing something wrong, and you keep on doing it. My friend, he agrees with this. He said, that's not good. I forget he had a word for it. I'm not going to make him talk. So he's an atheist, and we agree about something that's really freaking wrong. Now, to hell, that's what I'm saying inside of a Bible-based. Look, I mean, I said this to people that listen, I can say, do I know without any kind of shadow of a doubt that when I, die, that Jesus is going to be there and do what it says in the Bible, like knowing? What was his word? Now, that's what I'm going to remember. Doggone it. Tangible. Nominal. Phenomenal. There we go. He was talking about nominal. And God is a thought. He's on board with this. This in his mind, he's saying this. And phenomenal, that's a good way to describe exactly what I'm saying. Look, we can talk about this in a nominal fashion, but the phenomenon is going to be when we be dead and see what happens, right? And I'm saying in that with every breath. Okay, look, I'm as Christian as they come. God help me. But I don't know if it's going to be a phenomenon any more than my friend. I mean, come on, do you? No, we can have a faith into a thing. That's what we got. But, as believing that it is a phenomenon, and with a tangible book here that says words like, if you know you're doing something wrong and you keep on doing it, to my friend here today and to everyone, that is simply what the Bible says. And that means you're going to hell. And that is hard to take. But, well, that's the phenomenon that I'm expecting and I'm preaching into, because I don't want you going to hell. Hamartia, what's doing wrong? To miss the mark. Yeah, you can, that's fine. Have at it. There's paper down here inside the printer. That's fine too, whatever you want to use. Hamartia is sin that means to miss the mark. It can be the most smallest things. You know what my friend here did? We went for a walk here and we came back. Who's wrong? Who's right? We went for a walk and the people outside, I went by, it was these 3 Spanish ladies, small stature because they're Spanish, that's my take. And they had on coronavirus masks, the 3 of them. But I noticed the one in the center, and she had especially sad eyes. That's what I thought. I mean, this all happened in 3 seconds as we walked by. And then, in fact, it upset me because she was so sad. I turned around and looked again to make sure, like, like, do I need to stop here? Are you okay? And at least at that look, I did not. I thought she seems to be fine. I must have just seen her particular look. Well, my friend, when we came up closer to my house, he said something. I didn't know whether, and he even thought about it more. Okay, so at some level here, to miss the mark, do we miss the mark by dealing with that person there? Where do we define where sin stops? And but to do something wrong, I'm playing. My mind's going wherever. But Beta Rock Church is sure that we need to be leaning in more to the notion that even in the smallest of things, taking care of that girl that was walking by. I'm saying this is the heart of somebody that's an atheist seeing into these things. You'll see where my Bible verses are going, and I like that idea. Okay? Because we got two. I told you one here. Where Paul stands before. Let's find this and I guess speak into it a little bit more. But we got to finish out the thing. So the last thing is always a call to everyone. That this is, are you ready to take a step of lordship and a full surrender? I'm preaching with the big guns to, and now in a context where people need a framework. So I'm going to step back a second from that, other than to say it. The ultimate call, because I'm coming after the 40, 75-year-old people that have been in church their whole life and are going to hell. That don't do Matthew 18 and stand hypocritical against the book called Holy. That's who I grew up with, and that's what makes me deeply, deeply mad. But here's the wind blowing in life. Who am I talking to? Two people right now. Okay. The call to them, to anyone, is simply that at the end of the day, what does Beta Rock think? My name's Dwayne. We talked about this. My friend, he said he brought up something I seriously did not think about. Master, come on, like, good point. Maybe I need to have better branding in my name. I'm not changing it, but that's like, okay, fine. Like, look, funny, yes, okay, that, hopefully you don't think about that now. It's in your head too. Well, that's just life. Okay, he brought in something, that's fine. Are you ready to take a step of this where you finally think it over? Pastor Johnny's the guy that just cemented this kind of idea. Week after week, he has this call, and he's retired now. But people became used to it. They could invite their friends to church because, hey, we're doing the greatest thing that Christians like to do. We like to, convert them. You've made a choice and you've made a decision that you don't want to go to hell. You believe in hell. You want to go to heaven. People come down week after week, 75, 45. He sets records for North Carolina, this kind of stuff. He's following a Billy Graham method. Are you ready to take a step of lordship and a full surrender? That's the Beta Rock call, not to conversion. Okay, not to conversion. My friend's giving me some notes, so I'm going with everything that's happening here. Reading his notes. He had some songs for me, and I got those pulled up. We're 13 minutes into an hour, so we're just fine. We'll be able to get through stuff. Pastor Johnny, see, he doesn't, I'd like to talk to people like this and just say, look, your way's not right. I mean, that's really something because we're saying that Billy Graham's wrong. I don't know, my friend. Do you know who Billy Graham is? Have you heard these words? You don't even know who he is. Okay. Like, chances are, I don't know who listens to this. This is just what's happening. Maybe I have to change my tact. I don't know. I tell you, the people that I talk to, what my main thing to say to, with my God hat on, to my friend here and the other lady that we're talking to, what I'm realizing, I do believe from the bottom of my heart, different people that I'm engaged in relationship with, putting aside all these notions of, what do you call it? Phenomenal, nominal, okay? That all has a good place. So I'm not discounting it, but let's set it over here, okay? From the phenomenal real world, okay, what I am seeing in this parallels in all three of these people that I've been engaged in conversation with at a level today is, well, the two people and then the one. The one person comes from a spiritual attack on things, a spiritualism, a spiritual place. And I'm interested to find out where this ends because a lot of what they say, I just got into this group on Facebook about this, And I read through it and I'm like, yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. Nope, that's not right. And then ultimately, not just different things. It's not that it's all together, but what I'm interested to know, and this person I said, because I talked to two of the admins on this, and I talked to both of them. But the one I had more, we'll get to it. There's tomorrow. There's not time. You have to shift this around. But Tommy Nelson said this: any of these people that sit around and talk about where do you go with life, what do you make of all of this? People do seem to have an inherent sense. That's what's coming out of my mouth of what's right and what's wrong. Okay, even my atheist friend. I mean, again, I'm sticking to the notion of people inside. But he knew that. He bled with the same heart that I had in 3 seconds with this lady that walked by. He had a sense of right and wrong. And these spiritual people, they did too. This spiritual, not Christian. Now I talked to the leader and I said, look, I'm happy because it created a certain bond. There's like 300 people in this group, and I think they've been kind of communing together for a little bit in their thoughts. Lots of information. I only looked at the surface of it. I've got other things going on. I'll get to it. But I looked enough and I was concerned because I'm not going to not be myself, but I'm going to hang on this and I'm going to talk to this person directly and tell them my concerns. I said, I'm a pastor in a Christian church or something like this. This is what it is. I'm not going to, but I don't want to disrupt your group. And then she says, I'm a Christian. Okay, well, we're going to go down this path, but I'm just interested. What Tommy Nelson said, and I believe, is that no matter how smart you are, this passage here in Acts, I mean, how old is this? 2,000 years old. So Paul here is in Athens, and this is not his terrain. This is like a spiritual center. I mean, jail was for my friend, or different things that come to mind here. Look, this is not church now. You're not in a group here where it's all just we're kind of playing a game. Okay, he's on their turf. And what are some of the words here? What is this babbler trying to say? That's them talking to Paul. Okay, what is this babbler? You are bringing, but then they took him in. This is verse 19, where they said, may we know what this new teaching is that you're presenting. You're bringing in some strange ideas into our ears, and we would like you to know what they mean. Okay? He wasn't critical. Paul just said, hey, I mean, you know the story. Again, I mean, you might not, but I'm going with the idea for right now that you do, because it'll take too long to read all of this. But here's the passage. And this is what it is. Right here's your altar to an unknown God. And then Paul lays out his arguments for how good Jesus is. It has half a semblance of something that you should read. I'm not going to do it now but to my friend or whatever, what does this do? What does this do to your mind? What do you think of this? To read these ancient words, what does this do? And then I'm left saying, okay, well, even the fact that it is right, which I believe that it is, only some and a number of others, it did affect. Paul did his job. And this is it wasn't that nobody, and he had their attention. They were skeptical, but this is a very comfortable playing ground that I am happy to be in. And that's what life is presenting to me. Tommy Nelson, this is the people that counsel me. He says, where people get left in philosophy is you still can't answer the questions of evil. You can't answer the question of why and who says. Who says? With the Bible as a base, we do have something to point to that answers these unanswerable questions. We may be wrong, okay? We might die and it was all nominal and not phenomenal. Nominal meaning like thoughts, and phenomenal means that, your shitting ass is going to hell, okay? Or heaven. That would be phenomenal, like real, okay? But to Christian thought, we do have something to say into that space. It's God. And a whole lot to say about it, for the record. Now, so we put the thing on the shelf now. We're going to put that on the shelf too, because that's, again, thinking. And I like to think. My friend here, I said he has a beautiful mind. He does. I think I have a beautiful mind. And he is smarter than me. Noumenal. Okay. Noumenal and phenomenal. All right. In jail, our relationship was essentially centered on thought and being okay with being at different places. I'm a Christian. He's not. Let's have lunch. Okay. It doesn't disrupt us. Okay. And then we played a whole lot of chess. Okay. Tons of chess. So we'd talk and play chess. And to the brains of things, he beat me like 75% of the time. And that's fine. I mean, I'm proud of him for beating me. I think I'm a good win. Okay. I became the second go round. I think I was about, well, there, I hold my own in chess, but he's good. All right. And that is so interesting to me. Okay. He does have a beautiful mind. And in his case, you know, he's, I think he's interested in what I want to say, but when I look and listen to some of what he says, and there's a couple things here because this is a real story for him, but this is a phenomenon, you know, I think I'm using that word and maybe it's in my head, but there's parallels here to just being human. Where does Beta Rock start again? We can say it again. That if you're, did I say that? You have an inalienable right. Maybe I didn't say that. You have an inalienable right that is part of Beta Rock Church to be heard. Okay? Jesus left the 99 and went after the one. He cares about every single thing. He knows the number of hairs on your head. He goes after the one sheep. He knows about the sparrow that falls down. Don't worry. You know, I'm God. Okay? But that still focuses things down that I care about very, very deeply to meet people where they're at. My personal hood, you know, sits very close to this, and the Bible speaks to this. To be heard, an inalienable right in Beta Rock Church, beta@betarock.com. Message me, my cell phone, 717-660-6754. It's an absolute honor to hear people talk. I'll shift gears to the other person that I talked to, my friend from the UK. Okay, I think we have found some now because she doesn't want to be known, and I'm fine with this. Okay, and we talked a little bit about how, like, just me kind of being aware of this. You know, like when I say to take a step of lordship and a full surrender, if she does that, I sent her a text earlier today, and I said, you know, this is going to really mess up your life. And right, we like at least I just want you to know that I get it. It really does mean something. Look, we cannot be friends because I'm going to like suffer extreme pain. Okay, that's different than being secret. It's like, no, this is hurting in ways I'm not willing to do, and I honor that in a way to say, but that is all part of it. Like, I don't know. But I do know this is good. It's going to hurt. It's really something to buy into this. But now I'm getting on to another tangent. I want to get back to what I'm trying to say. I would describe this lady as every bit normal. Okay. But in our relationship where it was an avatar, and now we do know each other, really. And I'm honoring that. She said, delete this even off my computer. I guess if like, what's the show? People swoop out. What's that? Vanilla Sky with, you know, they with Tom Cruise. They just flop in out of nowhere in here, and people for no reason whatsoever just want to and expose her. She doesn't want any risk. And she might listen to this. She does listen, so I appreciate that. But look, we're fine. But I honored her. I deleted it. Nothing. There's not a scrap of evidence. I have to bring the forensic. Well, she probably worried about that. Maybe I don't know. But in this terrain of, what do you call it, confidentiality, which I'm honoring. So now you see, like, I can't ever be her friend unless we have some kind of marvelous agreement, because I've now said things enough about her that you can put 27 and 65 or whatever together and figure out it's her, which won't happen, but it could. Okay. Really start thinking we might find her. Well, and because I've even said all this, we're not doing that. That's what I'm trying to say to her and to everything, or just to try to frame it. But the bottom line is between my friend here and her and plenty of other people that I've talked to in life, we think about this stuff. We have deep thinkings, things that go into our mind. And what I think is that, and I think I'm healthy. I do. I'm done with counseling. Somebody said, did you go through, one of these other people, have I gone through, what did she say? Recovery program. Honey Bear, I've been in recovery since 2005. I've done recovered, and I'm going to done recover on Wednesday. Okay. I thought about it and I'm done. Okay. I'm done recovered. getting my mindset on this has simply put me into this place that I want to tell, I want to talk to people about this, my friend and anybody, because I think it's really good. And we'll see. I see this. I mean, here's what comes out of my mouth. In part, I mean, I don't know. This is what I would do if he wasn't here. That he's here raises another particular level of something, but people got stuff going on. They got stuff going on. The mind, the soul, the drive, What I'm saying is that when you take a minute, I mean, and by a minute, I mean, not a minute, I mean, a long little bit of time. Like with my friend in the UK, she commented like it was 9 days, like maybe 2 days ago. So now we're up to 11 days. Is that a long time? I don't know. How many friends do you have that you've talked to for 11 straight days and talked? I mean, I'd love to publish this book. She's over there wanting to be as anonymous as possible, and I'm praying on the other hand that it can be published in a book. I mean, the conversation is so good, really. So today, because we weren't really losing focus, not that we would, but I was taking all this together and I listed out because I said different things. And basically we came up with an agreed upon list, me and the lady from the UK, about 8 things in her life that meant something to her. And the one, okay, so the 8 things, 7 of them I'm completely on board with, like different things with the job and different things. I don't want to get into that. Family, normal stuff that people would have real burden and passion for. So it wasn't that it was lesser. It was just normal. But then the juicy one that I look at, we're starting to talk about all this stuff. And from my standpoint, to be on this very polished, I mean, it might be noumenal. Noumenal? How do you say it? Noumenal. Noumenal. That's he said noumenal. It's noumenal. That's what you wanted me to hear, right? Noumenal.
If you want to pronounce it.
Noumenal. Okay, noumenal. Not noumenal. Fine.
Well, if it's something that you actually heard, then it's phenomenal.
Well, that it's a mind thing. Okay.
Thoughts in your mind are phenomenal.
They can be. Now we're getting confused. I'm confused. Don't forget about that. I want to pronounce her. If the Christian faith is in fact noumenal, not real, just something that people made up, well, I'm living proof and testimony that, boy, it sure feels sound to me. So good, right? I mean, that's good no matter which way you slice it. I think there's something more here. But with this hat on, and I listen to people talk, and him too, my friend, okay, sitting here like 15 feet away, it just interests me how this is going to all roll down. Because I think that needs to get out there. People, I just think it must be so liberating to be able to, and even just look what happened. There's some part of her, I think, again, she might listen to this, where you just kind of beg for people to talk to and to open up into these areas, okay? To give words to things that literally, my friend even confirmed this. He knows when he says these things, people find it to be psychotic, okay? Well, yeah, but no, this is the very fabric of a person's, it's to me a love language. Thank you for sharing this. And doesn't it, and I know my friend's story, and I'm learning my UK friend. It's not nothing. And the fact that whether it is or not doesn't mean that it doesn't have great meaning. And what I'm hearing, I've been part of his story, but I also know other parts of the story. And so with the friend in the UK, I said, just tell me everything in your mind. I do not understand what you're saying, but I'm listening. And it's very important for you, and for me to hear. Just put your mind down on a piece of paper and let's, it's almost like vomit, and then we see that you had corn for supper. Okay. Okay. That made him laugh. Because we need to get that out and we need to talk about it, because I think, at least in my friend here, I don't know enough about the UK, what was happening with her, but it's the same kind of thing. People think about stuff, and the way that he was relaying it to me, where it went through a counselor that was just like me, under the direction of probation. Oh, the stories. I'm not going to tell you the stories, but oh, the stories. Like for somebody like me to sit there and say, that is horrible. To own the abuse that was happening in different things. It's just interesting to see what that's going to do to a person, and then it should be like a grand triumphant entry that my friend then decides not to be atheist and he makes a step of lordship. But that's not how it really can work. But it did for Paul. I don't really know. I can't control that. But what I can control is what I'm seeing, and I'm telling you some of these stories. Okay, did that make enough sense? It just interests me that when it all gets out there, what that does to a person, and then to align that from a Christian standpoint into a biblical way of thinking. So at first, it's like this filter, that eventually people out here are in this and we live here, but then with the people that I'm used to dealing with, where they should be down here into the very base goods of things all on their own because they've already dealt with all of this. Dude, we've just kind of lost. There's just a lot here. And it's going to get down to some consistent, tangible, reliable things that can guide a life to goodness. Okay, that's what I believe is going to happen. Might happen, can happen. It's a path. So, where are we at? 31 minutes, we're halfway in. I might like to talk about the texts. So let's finish that out, because this one is actually kind of offensive, maybe. These are the two that came to mind. So this was the nice one, where Paul, like here, this is a setting of unbelievers. My friend is atheist. So, okay, so here's an example in the Bible where a biblical person came into the scenario. This here, he came to me. It's not quite the same, but but it's breathing in. It gave opportunity. People were listening to the truth for the first time. It impacted them. They were open-minded. This is what was happening. Paul told them the truth. It had an effect on these people, some people, and a number of others. It did have a chance. Okay? Interesting. Another one. This is the less nice one. Matthew 8, where am I at? 9. Matthew 9, 10 to 12. This is short enough, so I'll just read it straight. While Jesus was having dinner at Matthew's house, many tax collectors and sinners came and ate with him and his disciples. When the Pharisees saw this, they asked his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" This is what's not nice. I'm calling my friend a sinner. I mean, he's atheist. Can we agree? I mean, do you own being a sinner? It doesn't mean anything to you. We'll talk later. Okay, but that's kind of mean, right? Like, that's not really, but I'm telling you, or just whatever. It's just what's in my head. When hearing this, because that's what's happening here a little bit. What's happening when Beta Rock is unleashed? Am I really talking to the Christians? Hell no, they like block me every which way possible and twice every set. I'm out. I'm done. My grandfather said, don't listen to him. He'll send me an email if I'm willing to come back to hypocrisy, and I'm not. To his death. I'm not happy for this. But I will not be hypocritical before I will be in relationship. No way, it's done. That divides, and that's fine. And here we go then. On hearing this, Jesus said, it is not the healthy, like my grandfather, who need a doctor, but the sick. Go ahead. But go and learn what this means, for I desire mercy, not sacrifice. I don't really understand what he's saying here, but I go and learn for I desire mercy, not sacrifice, for I have not come to call the righteous, but sinners. Now that much, so I don't get the mercy part. But and I've heard this preached before. For people like my grandfather to not see themselves as righteous. That's mainly what I've heard in here. I don't know if there's more. I did not have a lot of time to think over this passage. Mainly, I enjoyed my day with my friend and my near homeless guy. Okay, neighbor. We went for a walk and different other conversations that I've had. So it's a little less preparation than I might normally have, but I'm happy with how this is coming out. It's just how the wind's blowing today. What I do know is I'm having a conversation with him, and I do know that I care. I'm interested. This has taken a little while. We've known each other for a while. To be receptive, to think it over. And that's the thing. That's what really just impacted me about Pastor Johnny and his testimony. When you listen to it developed over, he's done it for 35 years. and ends up with a congregation of 17,000. I've been there. I mean, I would love anybody that would go to me to that place. That would be the most honorable thing almost you could do with me. I mean, to go down, except it's good. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's like a ghost town, but this is like the mecca of everything. What I think when you tell people the truth long enough, slow enough, and you live it for real. That's what Pastor Johnny was, a guy that was, drunk as a skunk, dropped out of high school, living a real life, married at age 17, didn't do anything right, came to Jesus on a calm, snowy night in January 7th, 1973, and God changed his life. That's what he says. But then when you listen to the story more, that wasn't really what happened. He first of all dropped out of school because he was getting tired of it, and then he needed an excuse. Basically, God was working on him. That's a view, right? He was just working on him and working on him, maybe over a period of a year, some amount of time. It wasn't an instantaneous thing. So when things like this get into a person's head, like my friend or the UK person or anybody, or even my grandfather, God help us. God help us. For the bastard pastors out there in this world, the Christians that are going to hell, to open up Hebrews 10:20. That's who my heart's with a lot. My friend too. And I don't really care anymore. I just go with the wind. But I will not compromise. Look, I'm going to be consistent to what this Bible says. And is it confusing? Kinda, but if you study it enough, I'm finding good stuff like this. Just do Hebrews 10:26-31, and the whole thing comes together. God is not just loving, he's wrathful. God is jealous. God is sovereign and fully in control. Election, mean. Are you ready to take a step of lordship and a full surrender to get into this? My friend in the UK said, I wanted to be on my own decision. I mean, I said this, I think, before, but these are good. This is good. I want to think it over. At least you're thinking. Is my grandpa spending time thinking about this for real? No, he's just hoping and praying that his sinning grandson comes back. No, that's not what's going on here, and I'll die before I admit that. That is not the truth. Anyway, let's talk about some songs for a little bit here. 36 minutes. We were both Russian. My friend is being cooperative. Who knows where our relationship's going to go from here? I'm just saying whatever comes out of my mouth. But he was in favor. He knew what was going to happen. He might even left, but here he is staying. That's good. I told him we got to do this. I do this at 6 o'clock. So here we go. But this is interesting. People like music. So we went through. We were Russian. Even he said, this isn't super polished, but these are some of the thoughts and different things that he said. And I got to think, because he said good things. He said good things. I want to be honorable to what I got to think. First song that we got through has merit. Swinging on a Star by Bing Crosby. You could Google it, and I'm looking at it here now. First time in my life I ever heard this song. I think, from a very quick review of this song, really listen to what he had to say, my friend. Swinging on the Star was like the ideal, and it kind of made him mad when he listened to the song because there's other animals here. So, and what does it mean to be swinging on a star? What is that ideal? That's what he's playing around with in his mind. That's what I think. Huh? The song is pleasing? It didn't make you mad. But you were mad that they didn't like the mule.
From my point of view, he doesn't like the mule.
Okay. All right, so we're talking. But we're still talking about stuff that to get into a person. What do they think about? That's a privilege to be brought into this space. Okay, so there's this mule, and then there's a pig, and then there's, what else is there? Moonbeams. Moonbeams, a fish, and a monkey. And in the song, they basically point out the fun of what it might be and then something negative. So the only true thing that in here stays true through it is the star. I'm looking at him for...
The rest of it's paradox, but the star is the idea.
Okay. And you're okay with that. And you don't know what the star really means, right?
It's supposed to be open to interpretation.
Okay, so it's on purpose. But you do empathize with the animals. You kind of like them. And their plays. Okay, so maybe I might have missed it. Anyway, but that's just food for thought, right? Because that's really what life is, right? Why should we try to, sell you for $19.99 into something? No, this is deeper and involved. We need to get this worked into things, and stuff that comes out, who knows? And we just like to have a Pall Mall, We're working and we're talking and we're thinking unravel this. And oh, by the way, this everything over here. Oh God, like, okay, we're loosening stuff up. That's good. Next song. This here is this song that he had by a different artist, but it's one the way I could get the lyrics. He likes some music. I have no idea. Not too many people. He has to listen to it on some kind of things that people don't normally do. You can't even YouTube it. But here's this one, Darn That Dream, Darn That Dream. And this is, interesting too, where it's about, I think, a love story, a love here that's just a dream. Okay, so it's not real, but they like it, and then there were, the one part of it was, let's see, darn that dream and bless it too. Okay, without the dream, I would never have you. So just playing with that, to get in. I don't know. It's kind of like my UK friend. Just what are you thinking about? I'll put it together. I'll put it together. Next song, Eminence Front. This one I liked. This is my favorite of the bunch. When I talk about Truefaced and John Lynch and tell you to YouTube those things, this is it. This is the Who version of that. Eminence, and we had to even look this up, and we're going to take time to talk about this one a little bit. So eminence is a noun, fame or recognized superiority, especially within a particular sphere of profession. Okay? An important, influential.
Simplify the definition for you.
Okay, all right, eminence. Influential, fame, superiority. Good?
And to project.
Projecting it. Okay. Because it's not really real, or just putting out it's a front.
You mentioned Paul from Athens or something. Oh, wait, that's great.
Okay. Eminence. And that's what they say. It's putting on airs, right? And we don't want this. And he was even saying, like, the Who were feeling bad because they had become famous, but they didn't want it. They didn't want this front. So it's the same. I'm just clearly pointing out this is exactly what John Lynch in Truefaced is so upset about. I'm upset about this, where we are putting on a front. I could talk. I try to talk, but I've been in these trains. I was a CPA and I've hobnobbed with, the high places. I've been to the wining and dining events. Very nice places. Good Lord, I was at the World Series in 2011, right after 9/11 went down. I mean, that's pretty much of a friggin' highlight. I've seen that. Now I live and sleep on an air mattress. Okay, but that doesn't mean I forget. The sun shines and people forget. The spray flies as the speedboat glides and people forget. Forget they're hiding. Forget they're hiding. Looks all good, but they're hiding. Right. That's Truefaced. Tell the truth. His stories to some of this brought up things that I knew about him, but again, were these little glimpses. So when he's playing these, and I do this, I mean, anybody does this, right? You're playing a thing, but your life is going on, and it helps you just process that material. And it's given breath to things that it's just nice for somebody to listen to and own and agree with. Like, really, who does this? Not many people. 12 days, that's the cost that it took me so far. I don't know where this, but there's a levelness with my friend in the UK now. Like, we had a fight and we had to separate for a little. I mean, this is 12 days, but I mean, there was a time like, bye, okay, bye. But now we're living in a place here, and we know enough about each other that I'm just interested. Have I had a friend? No, I haven't had a friend like this ever. This is exactly the kind of friend I want to have. No more having to be some kind of box and smiling right, but to tell the truth to each other and let it go. Okay? Right. Another song, Greta Van Fleet, which apparently is a guy. Sounds like a guy singing the song. This one's, it's just another thing. It's my heart she'll keep. Wait, that's the one too far down here. Oh, my holy Lord, sets my soul on fire, flames of love and sweet perfume. She's my heart's desire. She's an angel straight from hell, draws me to the deep. In the darkness way below, it's my heart she'll keep. Okay, that's kind of self-explanatory. Thunder underground, watch the castle fall. Sound of wind, it takes the sky, and winter takes us all. Okay, and then that's only one part, but I liked what my friend said next, and I'll try it. You see, anyway, you could slow this down. That's why I say you should put this on your downloaded YouTube and think it over like 5 or 6 times, like I do with what I listen to, because this is a lot. But you could then, if you think about it and make a note and go back and Google these lyrics, you can think about it too. Mountain high against the sky, watches as we pray, laughing loud and smiling proud, this is where we lay. So basically my friends thought, and I'm fine with that, I'd have to study it more myself, but the notion was that inside of these great pains, the person is making a choice to smile in the end. Okay, well that's interesting, I think we're done with songs, and I have one more thought about what I'm seeing. Oh, the eminence, and then I think we'll be done. If I can say, I think this is where this thought came out. When you're in jail, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, like, things have not gone so well, And there's a part that, okay, we could do something, but there's a victimization in being in jail. That I think is pretty safe to say. Things happen. Things happen. And then what do you do with that? And then things happen. You don't pick them, they happen. Hurt. I told you my friend has a beautiful mind. That's true. And I think he's got a good spirit. Somewhere in here I hear these things. There's something to be said that we're gonna figure this out. It's gonna take some time, and that's the thing with the eminence, that you don't have to be famous. I think that's what he was saying. And I'm okay, good. I like where this is going, and I'm saying it here now as my concluding thought. That it's everybody. Everybody has a place here. It's not the famous. That we have to own, like in life's dynamic, to find whether you're the mule, in that other song, to come to a good place, to take all that's happened. I'm not going to let this complete and utter shit, okay, keep me down. It's bashing me and again and things I didn't want, and oh my God. But I then have a choice to be like my darn near homeless friend and stay there. But I hear my friend here, I like him too, my near homeless friend, N near HF, NHF, my NHF guy. He's stuck down there, and that I've seen before, and that bugs me. But my friend here now seems to be saying, in light of all this, I want to do what's right. I want to get out of this. Right. One of the ladies today, we're done after this. One of the ladies today in the spiritual group, as I read, I mean, so the way that we engaged, she told a story and it was like gold. I mean, and a lot of different things were related to it. But I mean, to the point where she was bringing up we're the same age, and there's a progression here. I think it's just that we connected tight. Okay. So I got a little snippet of something that would have been, like an iceberg on the surface here. Boy, I connected with that. Like you couldn't just say that without having an iceberg underneath. It's so deep. And then I got into the Facebook and I studied it more. But the thing here was that shit happened to her too. And I don't think she went to jail. It wasn't like that. But it did something to her. Like it made her say just some of the most profound things. Like something about, you just have to own this place, that the only way you're going to move forward is to paddle. And like to take the initiative to get this straightened out. It's hard though, because she said she lost it all. And of course I can identify with that. And she could even then compromise and give in to certain ways to get into somebody else's boat, but she wanted to row her own. I mean, that's just what's coming out of my mind. I like her too. Oh, good thinking. And when I think back to the 700 people, that's what I say. I don't know if it was 700, but that's what I kind of have in mind. These Facebook friends, family that just, all I see is a bunch of people in the damn Titanic living terrible lives. Okay? Be real. Own these feelings. If you have them like you likely do, then get it out there and share. And you throw Hebrews 10:26-31 into that idea of a Titanic, and not only does it become theory, it becomes like you better get it straightened out, because as much as nobody should want to live like that, neither does God. Okay? Get off the Titanic and get on the Jesus boat. Okay? However we want to close this. God, I'm out of words now. Help us to just turn this over. Help us to look at our own underbellies and know that we're no damn different than anybody else. And how sick it is that we live in a world where this friend of mine has such a, the UK friend, has anybody. I mean, this isn't just her. Trueface and John Lynch and people dying. And we have to get on the ship of the Titanic to keep our 401ks and keep our social standing, when that is not at all what God wants whatsoever, not a bit. To churn that over, to have a pliable heart, like David says in Psalm 51. You know, the contrite heart, not all the things, the contrite heart, the thing I didn't want to give. Okay, that's what you want, right? Lordship, full surrender. In Jesus' name, amen.